Boom, here we go. Oh, shit. All right. I'm excited. It's been a minute. Since I've done this. But I think we got a really great podcast for you guys today. Welcome to the TROUPE Podcast. I'm back. I'm here, back at it. Here, I want to talk about everything related to training, creativity, and mindset, all the tips and tools to help you become your best self and do your best work. All right, let's go ahead and just get straight into it. First, I want to just talk about a little bit of what's been on my mind that I think can be helpful to all of you. I had a big kind of clarity moment, got some revelations that kind of shifted a lot of things for me, and just I have this energy. I just feel like I'm on fire right now, just excited about life. And it started with, for a while, I talked about this on my Instagram as well. For a while, I just felt like something's been missing. I have a lot going on. I've been doing a lot of cool things. I think on the outside, you would look at all the things I've been doing within the industry, with my company and everything. And mind you, I love everything I do, and I love choreographing, working in the industry. I love training dancers. I love my company. Shout out to Troupe Dance Company. But I also felt very kind of like comfortable. And I realized I've been missing the excitement that I had of the unknown that I had in the beginning of my career, when everything was so big and kind of scary and everything seemed impossible, right? Like when I was thinking about music videos and tours, it just seemed like and living in LA, everything just seemed so impossible. And, I started my career with this checklist of things I wanted to do. And, I'm at the age now, I'm 33 years old, and I still have my whole life ahead of me. But I pretty much have done everything that I wanted to do within the community, within teaching, within choreographing. And again, I love to do it, but it's kind of just more of the same. And I think that will continue to be my lifestyle for a very long time. That'll be a part of my daily life. But I needed something. I just realized, I haven't been excited about something. I needed something a little bit scary, something to push me. And I'd been praying, and I really kept asking God, like, what's next? What should I do next? Because I want to get prepared for that. I love to prepare. I love to study. Like, I want to know what am I going to be doing next with my life so I can get ready. And I really feel like God was telling me that, what's next is what's now. And I can expand on the things that I have been given, the things that I have right in front of me. I haven't even seen how far I can truly take them or how unique I can make them. Like, I haven't seen them at their full capacity. So that really sparked something in me, and I needed some time to really sit down and clarify, okay, what does that mean? What does that look like? What does that actually look like? And I got a pen and a paper, and I just sat down, and I didn't let myself get up or move or distract myself until I came up with some answers, and just taking all kinds of notes and just processing all my thoughts. And that's when I came to the conclusion that I needed that excitement again of, something to just kind of shake me up. And some of the things I wrote down were, I started with making a list of, what excites me. I wrote what excites you. And I wrote organizing events, organizing experiences, especially transformational experiences where people leave different than when they came in. I did an intensive in Philly earlier this year, and that was really, really exciting for me. That's like one of probably the best experience I've had all year. It was life-altering and life-changing for me, and many of the dancers said that it was life-changing for them. So it was just such a unique experience, and it was so me, and I just utilized all the tools and tricks and everything that I've accumulated, all the different training methods that I've created on my own over the years. I was able to use them in one space in one weekend with a group of dancers, and it was incredible. So that was really exciting for me. Another experience this year that was exciting was a vacation I did in Hawaii. I haven't taken a vacation since I moved to LA, which is almost 10 years ago. And Hawaii was my second vacation this year. I did one in Miami just for a few days. That one was a lot more relaxed. And then Hawaii was just an adventure and it was amazing. I was in nature and saw some amazing sights and was with friends. It was incredible. And that was another thing that I started writing down. Like, I love being in nature. I love any kind of outdoor sport activity. I love festivals. I love great music. Really great music is exciting for me. So I'm writing all these things down, and I start to kind of like look at the list, and it just I started to see an equation being mapped out, and the math just started to make sense to me. And I just figured, like, why don't I combine all of these things that I really love and that are really exciting for me? How can I make them all one thing or a few things? And especially the events and experiences part. So what I came up with was, one, I really want to double down on the intensive that I did. So now I'm going to be doing a tour with the intensive, which I'm super excited about. Like, I really wish I could do them every weekend. I wish I had one of these intensive, but I'm going to do a tour next year in 2022 of my intensive. I'm also planning a big camp in LA that I'm calling Super Camp. And it's going to be, again, everything that I've found useful and beneficial for dancers. I want to create something and make it's just a very unique experience. I don't want to give too much away, but I want people to come in and leave with a renewed love for dance on a whole nother level. It's not just about getting better, or it's not just about booking a job or anything like that. Like, all of those things, we'll discuss all those things. We'll work on that kind of stuff. But it's really like, I really feel like it starts with like that passion and fire you have for dance, which can often get lost in the pursuit of your career or attention or whatever it is. So I'm really excited for that. It's going to be 5 days here in LA. And with both of these experiences, it's not just going to be the dancing, but I'm going to incorporate being out in nature, being outdoors, stuff like that as well with these events. Also, yoga and working out and discussion panels, like all kinds of different stuff. So it's going to be a really, really unique, special experience. And I think what I'm most excited for, this idea literally came to me maybe like a week ago, and I've been on fire and so excited, can't even hardly sleep. I keep thinking about it so much. But I'm going to be doing a retreat. I'm going to be doing a dance retreat. I've never even seen it be done. I'm not saying no one has ever done it. I've just never seen it, and I've never seen it the way that I'm going to be doing it. And it's going to incorporate dance and yoga and hiking and kayaking and exploring out in nature and celebrations and parties and sessions, like all this kind of stuff. It's going to be 7 days in Mexico, like surrounded by jungle on a private beach. Like the ultimate experience, at least in my mind, the ultimate experience that you could possibly have incorporating dance. So ever since I got that clarity, I really have been set on fire, and I'm so excited about what the future has for me. And again, like, these are things that I've kind of done. It's just a shift in perspective and a shift in how I will execute, and expanding on incorporating more of me and more of what I love to do into all of these experiences that I'm creating. So that's where I'm at. So I would really encourage you, if you feel the same, you feel like on paper you're living a good life and maybe everything is okay, you're grateful, you're happy with what you're doing, but it feels like something's missing, I would really encourage you to take a moment, sit down, get a pen and paper out. I'm not saying everybody's religious, believes in God, whatever you believe in. I pray. So I would suggest that, or meditation, whatever that is for you. And then also just be in solitude. Don't allow yourself to be distracted. Try to avoid social media. Don't have the TV on. Just sit and really just figure your stuff out. Like, let's just sit and do not move until you got some answers. So that's what's been on my mind, my heart. Let's get into some questions from the community. Orion, I hope I'm not saying your name wrong. I'm sorry. We're going to put your IG tag up on the screen. But Orion Pugh sent a few questions. If you have any questions that you want me to answer, this segment is going to be called Ask Troupe or hashtag Ask Troupe. So make sure you text this number. We're going to put the number up on the screen. You can text in any questions you have regarding training, creativity, and mindset. And I'll pick one that I feel like is really relevant and will be really helpful for me to answer for people. So Orion asks, first off, let me pull this up. Her first question is, what daily practices do you have now that enhance your everyday life and dance experience that you wish you would have incorporated sooner? Amazing question. And this is something I think about a lot and I work on a lot, is my daily habits. Because your habits, if you take your daily habits, your morning routine, and add it up 5 years, multiply it by 5 years, that'll kind of show you who you will be and where you're going to be going in your life, right? So I would say one that I got into heavily is yoga. I think every dancer should do yoga. It's amazing for your flexibility. It's amazing for your strength. It's amazing for your mind and connecting with your body, taking that time. Like, I think it's better than just stagnant stretches, like especially if you're in a like vinyasa flow where you're constantly moving through stretches, is better than like what we typically do in class where we're just kind of like just holding a stretch. I found yoga helps a lot, and I wish I would have been doing this my entire career. I found, and there's also studies that say that most dancers stop because they can't, not because they can't dance anymore. They can't do it anymore. Their body fails them, not just because they don't want to. So make sure you're taking care of your body. I wish I would have done more of that when I was younger. It's still things that I have to try to recover from because of the trauma I put on my body and my muscles. So yoga, game changer. Also being consistent with being in the gym, strengthening. The better you feel, the stronger you are, the more flexible you are, the better you move, the better you dance. You know what I mean? A lot of people struggle with, say, like levels, and that is a strength thing. They just simply can't get down there. They can't get down to that level. Or being clean, they don't have the strength to really, they don't feel that extension. They don't feel that power. So it's just a little bit harder for them to execute. So just strength training, yoga, being consistent with those. I personally recommend, what I'm doing right now is 3 days of strength training and 2 days of yoga. It'll make a huge difference on your movement. You have to diversify how you're training. A lot of dancers are just taking choreography classes, choreo. And that is a very small part of how you should be training as a dancer. There's so much more to dance, and choreography is not the dance. You need to know how to dance. Choreography is just arranged dances, dance movements, but you need to actually know how to dance. If someone puts on a music, if someone puts on a song, you should be able to dance to it. There's so many dancers that they like won't move. They don't know what to do. That doesn't make sense, you know? So yeah, I just went on a tangent with that. Also, I would say for cardio, what I've been doing is more so like playing sports. I hate running on the treadmill, but I'm down to ball and like be running up and down the court. I'm very competitive, so it makes cardio much more fun. Or I just took up surfing, super fun. And I just went paintballing the other week. Like, I do all kinds of different stuff to make exercising more fun for me. But I definitely feel a difference when I get in the studio or whatever, when I'm dancing. I feel a major difference. Also, days off. Make sure that you have time to recover. For me, some people will probably say you need more days to recover, whatever. But for me, I at least take Saturday and Sunday, but especially Saturday, I know is my weekly day off. I'm not doing anything. I don't want to take any kind of work. I need that day. I didn't used to do that, and I would find myself burning out over and over and over again because I never had a moment to just let my mind and body have a break. And that is much needed. Your brain needs time to heal. Your body needs time to heal. So make sure that you have those recovery days. You're taking those days off. So that's my answer to question number 1. She has 3 more, and I was going to like switch it up and answer a few people's different questions, but honestly, her questions are really, really good. I want to dive into these. Second, she says, what tips do you have for dancers who are preparing to move to LA to pursue dance as a career during the pandemic? Great question. All right. What tips do you have for dancers who are preparing to move to LA to pursue dance as a career during the pandemic? Okay. A few things. First, I would say is know what you want to do. That's where you need to start. I find many dancers move here and they don't really know what kind of jobs they want to do, who the choreographers are that are hiring for those jobs. So they're just kind of here guessing and trying to do a little bit of everything with no actual direction. And they end up being busy, and they don't actually, they're not progressing. They're not going anywhere. So know what you want to do. Be clear on, okay, I want to work for these artists. Okay, who are those artist choreographers? Are you familiar with their work? Do they teach? If they don't teach, do their assistants teach? Do the dancers they hire often, do they teach? So get yourself familiar with that kind of stuff. Also the agencies, like who are the big agencies? Also now, which is a big shift I haven't heard a lot of people talking about, is like there's a lot more like training programs going on. You know, you have like Modus, you have my company, you have KM, you have Cameron Lee's mentorship. I would also start getting familiar with which one of those maybe that you would want to try out. Because a lot of people are now kind of reaching out to the directors of these programs for dancers for recommendations, because they know that we're out there in the field and we're seeing dancers often, especially because the culture of training in LA has changed so much. And now classes are, I'm not going to shit on LA and LA classes, but because this dance has exploded so much, the intentions for why people are in class have changed a lot. So you kind of may be in class and not know if someone's just a fan of the choreographer from Instagram, or someone just dances for fun, or someone wants to do it professionally, or what it is. You know what I mean? You kind of have no idea anymore. And a lot of people come in with no class etiquette. So it's changed. I'll leave it at that, but it's definitely changed on that. But definitely be clear on what it is you want to do, and then work backwards from there. Now, what are the steps that I need to do to get there? Also, training in foundation. I can't say it enough. Like I can't just go to. And I'm speaking mostly for, I'm mainly like I can't even say I'm a hip hop choreographer. That's also a whole nother discussion. I have training in hip hop and multiple other styles. And I do teach the foundational hip hop movements in my trainings a lot as well. But if a typical class or whatever, if I only have like an hour and a half, compared to like when I'm training my company, I have 4 hours with them. So we do all kinds of stuff. But if I have an hour and a half at Millennium or something, I don't get to dive in as much. And a lot of those classes are like choreography classes that professional dancers are coming to take to prepare for auditions, tour, whatever. So I don't get to dive into it a lot, but I just find like a lot of people don't know where movements come from. So they are faking it in class. And you can always tell a dancer who is trained and knows their stuff when it comes to foundation, and someone who's just popping in class and faking it. And also, if you're faking it, it just doesn't feel as good. If it doesn't feel as good, it's not as much fun. So I would take time to really, really drill foundational movements, get into some house classes, get into some hip hop like groove classes. Not a lot of this choreography is not hip hop movements. So you need to know what actual hip hop is. Like I would never go to that's what I was going to say earlier, is I can't just go into a ballet choreography class and just start twirling. Like I have to, people take technique classes. You need to know the proper foundation, proper technique to be able to execute any kind of sequence in ballet. And for some reason, people don't treat it the same when it comes to hip hop choreography, or choreography that's based off of hip hop movements, right? Pretty much all of us choreographers have evolved our styles from hip hop. Like a lot of the industry people, we've evolved it from hip hop, but you need to know what the first, or what the original was, to be able to even attempt what we're doing, or know why we're doing what we're doing in the moment that we're doing it. I hope that makes sense. Again, diversify your training. Still take choreo classes. It's really great for the mind. You will learn something from choreography classes, but switch things up. If you want to be different, if you want more, you got to do more than what everybody else is doing. I would say also learn professional work. Learn work from music videos, from tours. Get yourself familiar with what that kind of choreography calls for, what it feels like. A lot of it, honestly, is very different than class choreography. You know, like, it's very different. Class choreography, usually, this is the difference. The intention is different because a lot of people, when they're teaching classes, they're focused on the dancer only. So it has to be choreographed in a certain way because you're only watching the dance. So there's usually a lot more content in there because you're only watching the dancers. Whereas industry jobs, you're a part of an ensemble, you're a part of a full production. There's the band, there's the artist, there's the backup singers, there's the lights, there's all this different stuff going on. So the choreography can't compete with all of those things. It has to blend well with everything that's going on. So it may not be as it may not be as crazy, but you still need to make it look fly. Even if it's simple, if it's just a vibe, if it's a groove, you need to make it look fly. So you need to really get familiar with learning industry type choreography. And this is if you want to be a professional dancer. And I'm under the assumption that most people that are watching this, most people that follow me, that's what they want to do. If that's not what you want to do, fully ignore that comment. Also introducing yourself, like literally, even it doesn't matter if no one responds to you, whatever. I would just start reaching out to people that you look up to, that you admire, that you want to work with, and just introduce yourself. Like, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. I want to work with, and make it a genuine. Like, when people are trying to network, I don't really like that word. More so, I think about it as like building relationships with people. If you're trying to build relationships with people, like, it needs to be authentic. You need to, okay, you want to work with this person. Why? If there's 100 other people saying they want to work, why do you specifically? What is it about that person's work? And I think when people come at it in that way, you're more likely to get a response. You're more likely to stand out because that choreographer can tell that you are actually paying attention. You're not just one person that just heard about them yesterday and now you're just trying to get put on. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, put yourself out there. There's so many things that have happened in my life with, like, even down to like working with Kaylani was just simply putting myself out there. She didn't have a choreographer. I just took a chance, reached out to one of her dancers and just asked the question, you know, and a lot of people are just afraid of either rejection or they're afraid of like not even being seen or heard, which is also rejection. So they just don't even take the chance. And you got to take risks. You got to take chances in your career. Like, who knows? Like, if they say no, they say no. If they don't see it, they don't see it. It doesn't matter. Like, get really comfortable. That's just a side note. Get comfortable with rejection. It's going to happen and it's okay. They're not rejecting you as a person, as a human being. You just never know what the situation is. And a lot of those no's are not a forever no. It's just a no right now. You know, there's been many times like I got to choreograph for Chris Brown, but that was after getting cut from casting. My first audition for him, I got what's it called? What's it called when you typecasted? Yeah, I got typecasted from the first audition. The second audition, I made it to the end, didn't book it. The third time I auditioned for the choreographer wasn't for Chris Brown, but it's for another artist. I booked the job, but in the first rehearsal, I haven't talked about this like publicly yet, but in the first rehearsal, I was so nervous and stressed and overthinking that he was like, I hate the way you dance. A lot of it. Hate. He said, I hate how you dance. This is Fly Styles, a big choreographer that I looked up to for a long time. And I worked with Michael Jackson and Chris and Usher. And like, it was like, it honestly, like, it really just woke me up. And I just was like, okay, I'm so in my head. I need to figure this out. I reached out to an assistant and was like, yo, what do you think I could do better? And she simply just told me, like, we need to see the same dancer. Shout out to Eden. Shout out to, we're really close friends now. Shout out to Eden. But she just told me, like, we need to see the same dancer that we saw in the audition, you know, when I was just passionate and just going for it. You know what I mean? And sure enough, I got in the studio the next day. I rented studio space for like an hour before we had rehearsals. And I just drilled the choreography. If you give me a note, if you say something, you're never going to say that ever again to me. I don't want to ever hear it again. If you tell me I need to work on something, I never want to hear that note ever again. So I'm going to zone in on it hardcore, intensely until I figure it out. So yeah, that's what I did. And in the next rehearsal, it wasn't like there was fireworks and it was the best rehearsal ever, but I didn't get called out. I wasn't trash. I was a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident, more relaxed as well. And to make a long story short, he ended up eventually apologizing for what he had said and for doubting me. He was like, I apologize, like, yo, you're dope. And I doubted you at first, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually he ended up reaching out to me for me to work with Chris Brown and to not just dance, but to choreograph for Chris Brown. So that's how I got the Chris Brown job. So don't be afraid of rejection. Just keep going at it. You never know what'll happen. The next thing I want to say is, Instagram. I know people have different kinds of relationships with Instagram or social media. Trust me, I do. I need to take breaks all the time for my mind. I get trapped in it too sometimes, comparing myself to other people and all that kind of stuff. I'm a lot better with it now, but it fluctuates. But yeah, Instagram is the new website. It's the new reel. It's the new resume, all those kinds of things. Typically when we're referring dancers, we're suggesting dancers, we're literally just sending over their Instagram page for the choreographer or the producer or the manager or whoever's involved, the director, to scroll through, see what you look like, see how you dance, see what your personality is like. That really, really matters. Like down to not only just how you dance, even like the captions, like what you're writing, what you're about, all of that kind of stuff matters. So be consistent with putting up content or even more so. And it's not about going viral. It's not about how many likes or comments or follows you get from it. It's just more like a representation of you. It's your portfolio. That's how it works now. I've posted about this before and people felt a way about it. I love you all, but they don't care about your feelings. They don't care about how you feel about it. This is just how it's working. This is like the best workflow for now. It's better. It's probably even better than how it used to be because it's just much more streamlined to see everything. So yes, do that and get your content up and diversify your content. Sometimes I'm on somebody's page and all I see is heels videos, or all I see is like the same style of hip hop choreography videos, or like it's just the same. And typically because that person just feels most comfortable in that style. But I would switch it up again. That's why training differently, switching up how you train and getting familiar with different styles is really important. So diversify your training, diversify the content that you're putting out, show a variety of styles that you can do. What every choreographer wants, our dream is always to work with versatile dancers. Like we don't want to be limited. There's nothing worse than you get in a rehearsal and a dancer can't do this, they can't do that, they can't do that. Like your creativity is limited. No choreographer wants to be limited in their artistry and what they can do. If I want you to dive roll, you're going to have to be able to dive. Trust me, I've been in jobs where I had to like break. I'm not a b-boy at all, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to try my best. You know what I'm saying? Like, so make sure you're training, diversifying how you train, and also the content that you're putting out. So that's the answer to number 2. Number 3, she says, what part of training do you think dancers underestimate or overlook? And what advice do you have on how dancers can improve their training experience? Another really good question. I'm going to go back to the foundation thing. I can't touch on that enough. Training foundation. Also, not just foundational styles, but also just movement. Just foundational movement. Sometimes when I'm training at home or just training by myself in a studio, I'm just doing something super simple. I just have my arms out and I'm just like isolating my shoulders. Like it's not necessarily a style, but I just want to be so familiar and in control of my body and be able to move it in any way that I possibly can. You know what I mean? Or any way that comes to my mind. I want to be able to execute it comfortably. So definitely most people are overlooking foundation because it's not viral. It's not popular on social media. It's getting a little bit more popular though. And also dancers don't train on pressure. They don't put themselves in situations that are high pressure or high stakes. So they always kind of play it. They're very like comfortable. A lot of people just dance in that back corner of every single class, or whenever they're calling out groups, they stay off to the side, or they have somebody go solo. They never go out. So what happens is in reality, when the time comes, when it's time to show up and show what you can do, even I've seen even like great dancers who are amazing when they're in the pack. When the pressure's on, it looks like they never danced in their life. You know, I've seen that so many times because they're just so uncomfortable with the pressure. They've worked on everything else, but they never put themselves in uncomfortable situations. And as a professional, as somebody who wants to be great at dance, even if you don't want to work in the industry, which dance is bigger than just the industry, if you want to be great, you have to master pressure, being able to handle being under pressure. Trust me, I felt the nerves, I felt the fear, I felt all kinds of stuff, and I still just went out and did it anyways. And you get in the habit of doing that and you start to get comfortable, and then it doesn't faze you. And then you get to a point where I almost want the pressure. I almost zone in better. I'm more focused if there's pressure on me. Now I kind of like thrive under it. So yeah, that's something I would like. So just keep that in mind. Like if you're just starting out, like you might feel nervous, you might be going down in flames, but just keep going. Keep being uncomfortable. It gets better. It gets easier. I promise you. Just please remember that. So that's one thing I would definitely say is like, put yourself in pressure situations. Now, what that looks like is dancing in the front, dancing right behind the teacher. If they're calling out groups, be the first one on the floor. If they call out solos, go out on the floor. Ask people around you, ask people around you, can you watch me and give me advice and like, tell me how I'm doing. You know what I mean? Give me some feedback. Like, don't be afraid of that. I think sometimes we're afraid of feedback because it's like looking in a mirror and then we have to face the flaws that we have. You know what I mean? And you don't want that habit of running away from the truth. You know, you want to attack anything that's an issue for you, like attack it. Do not be afraid of that. Okay. And actually that's what I want to say. There's something we were in one of our trainings with KM and, somebody had asked like, what do I look for in a dancer? And I was talking about, passion, like somebody who's passionate, because not everybody in the audition is passionate. And then I had to correct myself because I think a lot of dancers in these auditions are passionate, but their fear is bigger than their passion. Or they're more focused on the fear and they forget about how much they love what they're doing, how passionate they are about what they're doing. So all I see is fear and I don't see any passion. So passion over fear. And I'm gonna make that like a tagline. Like we're gonna just have to like put that somewhere in the edit. Passion over fear. I'm gonna put it on a t-shirt. Like really just live that. Oh, and he has a shirt on that says faith over fear. This is my boy Shaboobs. He's also from the Bay. That's filming this. Shout out. It's gonna be a meta moment for you editing this. So yeah, passion over fear, please. Okay, last question. She says, how was your mindset in relation to the dance industry? How has your mindset in relation to the dance industry changed since pre-pandemic? What have you done to stay motivated and keep a healthy balance between dance and other aspects of life? Amazing question. How my mindset has changed is I'm just really doubling down on me, on who I am, on what I love. I'm more comfortable with who I am. I think all of us have definitely sat during quarantine and figured out our trauma and things we need to heal from and who we really are. And, I'm sure a lot of healing has happened for a lot of different people. So I'm really just embracing who I am and trying to just own that as much as possible, no matter how anybody feels about it. So just being unapologetically me. Also, just kind of like growing up a lot, just realizing like who I used to be and the things I wanted and all that kind of stuff. It has changed and I need to do something about that. I need to do something about that change. So really just, I'm focused on me. Also, I'm betting on me. I'm trying to live by I am enough. I'm living by it. That's another reason that's one of the reasons that I started my company and now I'm doing all these events under the TROUPE brand is, I've always I feel like I kind of used other people, I didn't use them. I love collaborating. I love partnering with people, but I think I also use that as like a crutch. I've always had partners in every program, company, everything that I've done. I've always had a partner. And I needed to just go out on my own and see what I could do with just me, my vision, not negotiating it, not compromising it with anyone. And that's not to knock anyone or any of the partners that I do. I still have other projects that have partners, but it's just I needed something of my own to where I can just venture out and just let's see, what if I really am enough? And I saw it, my first intensive I did in Philly. Having my community there that came for me because they believe in me and they believe I have value and they know what I'm about and they love what I'm about. And because of that, the community that was created of people who also feel the same way, and we all kind of see the world in a similar way and we see our art in a similar way. We care about our art in the same kind of way. That was the most amazing feeling. It's just getting a new pair of shoes that just fit perfectly the first time it just was a perfect fit. And it was a blessing. It was really a spiritual experience. If you were there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm just betting on me, man. Really just going for it, trusting God with my life and trusting myself and trying to just, base my life off instincts, and believing in everything that I see and envision, including this podcast. I don't know where it's going to go, but I know this is me. I know this is what I love to do. I'm just doing it on camera. I do this every day with dancers here in LA, but now I'm just expanding and allowing people to get to know myself through this platform more so. So betting on me and building the community that believes what I believe and value what I value and, want some of the same things out of life. And I'm building that community, finding more people who are about that and not getting too caught up in trying to convince people to like me and like what I do and like what I'm about and like the way I train. I'm not trying to, I just realized I don't really like selling people. Honestly, I don't really like selling people on things. I just want to create something great, create something that I think is amazing. And if you like it, if you're about it, come through. Other than that, I don't want to do too much trust me, this is great. I'm not doing that. I've done a lot of it, and it's very anxiety inducing trying to constantly convince people and sell people on what you are, who you are, and your value. I think at this point I've done enough proving with everything that I've done in my career. I've been all around the world. I've worked with the biggest artists in the world. I've trained dancers who've booked tours, but done all the things as well that I did earlier in my career. I've owned one of the top dance studios in LA that closed sadly due to COVID. But I've earned my stripes. I've made my way. I've worked with legends. I'm not doing any more convincing. Personally, I know that people may feel differently, but that's just for me. I'm not doing it anymore. But thank you so much, Oriane. Much love. Again, you can text me at the number on the screen with hashtag #AskTroupe and then put your question. Make sure you use the hashtag because it'll automatically put you into a folder with the rest of the questions to make sure it doesn't get lost and I can see it. Boom. So that's the questions from the community section or the Ask Troupe section. I just want to finish with a challenge for you. With every podcast, I want to make sure that I have something that we can act on today. Like right this moment. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for a class tomorrow or anything like that. I really think you should do what I mentioned in the beginning. Get a pen and paper out and really just sit for a moment and just write down, what do you want? What are you excited about in life? Like really get clear on who you are, what you envision for your life, what you think will make you most happy, most excited, most fulfilled, and don't be afraid of the answers. You know what I mean? Like I love creating events. I love creating experiences for people that will allow them to have some fun, but also change their life in some kind of way, teach them something. That's what I love to do. But at the same time, I realize it's not as sexy as working with some star. It's not as cool as maybe some of the other things that a lot of dancers see me doing or have seen me do in the past. But that's who I am. And I know a lot of people will probably look at it like, well, what can you do with that? Events are hard and this isn't and that. I don't care. It's what I love to do. And I know it's what fulfills me to any degree. If it's one person, I want to give them an amazing experience, let alone if it's 1,000 people, if it's thousands of people, so I just know either way, that's what I love to do. And I thrive in creating those kinds of experiences. And I just want to do it. Obviously, I want to do it at the highest level that I possibly can. And maybe what I'm going to create is different than anything I've ever seen. And you can't be afraid of that either. You can't be afraid of your vision looking like nothing you've ever seen before. Don't be afraid to be the first. I think I'm just going to leave it with that. That's good. You like that? All right. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you please comment, subscribe, share with a friend. All that really helps us build this community of like-minded people. And, you're helping somebody. I believe this information is really going to help someone else. So do your part to contribute as well. And it could just be as simple as just sharing this with somebody that you care about. Thank you so much. That is the TROUPE Podcast. I'm your host, choreographer and trainer, Antoine Troupe. Boom.